The education in India used to be taught through spiritual teachings by families and communities through the use of tradition and compassion. This meant families would teach their children how to keep their land and live. However, the rich and elite in India were taught more formally by gurus or priests, unlike the UK.
India's educational system changed in 1947 due to the British colonisation. Western missionaries used education for the poor to be a way of controlling the country with a humanitarian outlook.
Denenge bangla chenmo gyabin nge zuko gadi shuli nge gadi na yontani zakse zuko khorang dontak khorang sose gyursong ta banade ki pene churches la yontan chua.
This was the beginning of education globalization. This is the use of diverse educational practice and policies that people believe to be beneficial for all. Globalization allows people the chance to learn new skills. However, is there a need for such skills?
Such as computer skills in rural, poor countries. So, is globalization inevitable? Some people believe that it is inevitable. However, Shield questions, how is the world globalized? Through the force of one person or a force bigger than us all?
Globalization is essentially the changes in money, goods, people and information internationally. Also the changes of social values such as culture and social practices. It can be seen as a radical transformation of the world.
There are three theories of globalization: competition, conflict and culture. Each have their own interpretation of how the economy has been globalized.
Competition allows all things to move more freely and quickly. It enables immigration and global trading. It has taken on a neoliberalism approach, which affects economic, political and cultural policies and values worldwide.
Professor James Tooley believes in the competitive globalization because it achieves positive outcomes such as the ability to improve efficiency, innovation and quality of products. It focuses on Fieldman's theory of the flat world, where people are valued by work ethic and skill rather than where they were born. This is why corporations such as the World Bank believe it's important to educate everyone.
The amount of immigrants from countries such as India moving to the wealthier Western countries has doubled since the 1960s. This means they host 75% of the world's immigrants because they offer the job opportunities and lifestyle advertised because of the skills they have gained. However, this has also led to a high risk of unemployment for immigrants due to discrimination, lack of jobs and labour market knowledge.
Furthermore, there is the ability to move more multinational companies to poor countries to improve a company's profit margin. The effect of this means that they pay lower wages to the employees and are omitted from paying taxes in the headquarters country. And this also results in offshore accounts, which worsens tax economy.
The Western education has been influenced by the competition globalization. If it works in one country, other countries adopt the same ideology, therefore creating an international education model, including the same policies and practices for all countries. The conflict globalization is made up of unequal relationships between the core countries and the periphery. The core countries refer to the elite, which have more money and power. The peripheries are dependent on such countries. This is the opposite of Fieldman's flat world theory, as it no longer a level playing field for all. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
International bodies such as the World Bank, UNESCO and the United Nations were created to enable the developing of all countries as equals. However, this is not the case as global policies are often produced for an agenda. For example, poor countries take out loans from the World Bank to aid their developing economy. If unable to pay back the loan, the World Bank offers government management help. This essentially is allowing them the ability to run the country.
Western values affecting and assimilating own country values are found in periphery countries through ways such as media, schooling and technology. This is often referred to as a hegemony, where core countries eradicate the periphery's traditional beliefs and values, essentially making them a consumerism country.
Parents believe in education to allow their children a better life that's been influenced through consumerism. This in many cases results in parents' bankruptcy to fund the education and children being sent away from home to be schooled due to the distance travelled.
I've been told that the children had to come by force to the school. They wouldn't like to. People just wouldn't send children to the school. We are strict that the children speak in English with the teachers in the class and with each other.
They tend to forget their own culture. They even sometimes they don't even know how to speak their own language. They forget their traditions, and I think which is not a good sign for Ladakh.
Cultural globalisation takes on a neo-institutionalised approach. It is consensual. This means the countries want help, and children and families want to be educated into the globalising economy. This is the opposite to conflict, competition, globalisation, which are the results of a hegemonic power relationship.
One of the main issues within developing countries is the teaching of education. Due to parents' own beliefs and values, some children are being sent to low-cost private schools. The government schools are not well structured or kept, whereas private schools are accountable to paying parents. The teachers of government schools do not hold a respect of their vocation. 25% are absent each day, with a further 50% who are unengaging.
No matter which type of globalisation is taking place in India, education for all has a central role in each. This is allowing all, regardless to background and race, the ability to learn the basic elementary education for free.
The Education for All movement was set up by various international organisations in 1990.
India's educational progress can be seen by the increase of primary and upper primary schools. These are approximately 34% and 185%. The enrolment of children within this time frame has also increased. Primary education has increased by 18.6 million and 23.7 million for upper primary.
However, although more children are enrolled and less dropping out, many children are absent from school because of illness, distance and money. According to UNICEF, the enrolment of children in primary schools was 94.2%, but the percentage of children completing primary school education was only 73%. Because of the lack of hygiene for children in India, the government set up different ways to improve their hygiene. For example, here's a short clip encouraging children to go to the toilet.
A pile of shit staring at me. I close my eyes, I step away. No matter where I go, there's no getting away.
In countries like India, girls are treated unequal to boys. They are at a disadvantage. Doctors believe that the little girl Devki is being deprived of food because of her gender. She weighs half the weight of her twin brother, and doctors fear for her life.
Sending girls to school and teaching them good hygiene habits eradicates the problem of using electronics to teach them good hygiene.
We have learned to brush our teeth, use a toilet, and be clean and tidy. Morning exercises are great fun. And I love the food here. In just 1 or 2 months, I started looking so good that my mother didn't even recognize me. When I go home, I tell everyone we must be clean and tidy. I still help my mother.
Education for all means access to free education. But is it free? Research has identified that the cost of uniform and books for the government schools has little difference in the cost than sending a child to a private school.
So what are we trying to achieve? The education is not only putting families in debt, but the advertisement of education creates a better future seems unproven. The ideology that money aids the quality of life and industrialised education creates a successful economy is false. It has aided to the loss of culture, more poverty and unhappiness.
Do children need to be taught in the traditional westernised fashion? Sugata Mitra in 1999 put a computer in the wall of a New Delhi slum. This was then used by the local children and they taught themselves how to use the technology. And the fact it wasn't stolen surprised many people.
The educated young have debated, like the Western culture, on privatised education bringing down the quality, which also leads into debts. The grass is always greener. The West believe that China are an ideal academic prodigy. However, China are looking for new ways to improve their innovation, which cannot be achieved by their current rote learning. We believe that globalization should occur through culture. We should work alongside the Indian government to improve the standards of teaching and the resources. This will make India a more attractive place to work and learn, therefore keeping educated citizens within the country. This will then aid their future development as at the moment jobs are not respected within India. It seems as though the UK government do not see the need to aid India as the country is developing quite rapidly, yet there is still a need to aid education in such ways of hygiene and culture, so we think guidance is still needed.